It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Well, do you? I fucking don't, man. Shit. What are you looking at me for? It's night drive because I'm off the work and therefore I'm recording the pod. I'm laying shit down for your face space Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday by chance. Just doing it all. I am Billy at _Swan_man on Twitter. Follow the repping for the Army of Snarkness. Follow Army of Snarkness on Twitter at Army of Snarkness. That easy. You fucking idiot. Like the Facebook page. I just got confused on the road. Okay. Like the Facebook page for Army of Snarkness. Do a bunch of Army of Snarkness shit. If it ain't Army of Snarkness, go fuck itself. Is what it can do. I guess? I don't know. How are you? Fucking Monday. Right? Another Monday where Billy was under the weather. Shitty walk. Fucking, And I don't think it was because of any, drug abuse or anything this time. There's no alcohol involved on this one. I think I was poisoned by a turkey wiener in my my attempts to lead a healthier life. I think the turkey wieners got me. Because it was a fucking nightmare. And that doesn't help, especially when it's like cold outside and I'm already like, 5 more minutes to myself. Bargaining, like, well, with 20 minutes to spare, we can take a shower real fast and get our clothes on and get out. And it's like, well, maybe 10 minutes. It's like, when it's cold, I ball up into the blanket, not wanting to see the outside world. And when I'm fucking illin' in the tummy bunny area, it's even worse. Combine those two things, and I don't want to do a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. But there are no sick days in my line of work. And here I am now, feeling obviously a little better. So, up your butt with a rubber hose. It's called a weekend. Oh! Monday, I usually talk about wrestling, and I was thinking, I'm sitting in the bath, shitting in the bath, because I was sick. No, I don't take baths. I'm a grown-up. This ain't no bathhouse. Not yet. That doesn't make any sense. Thank you, self. Why, hello, John. Hello, John. Fucking Dino DNA. Fucking nonsense. That's all it is. It's just sound. The Comic-Con is coming to Lexington, run by a bunch of hillbillies, so I don't even know how I feel about it. Part of me really wants to go. Part of me really does. No shit. No diggity. Part of me was about to be a VIP up in there because it was cheap. But part of me is like, the grown-up in me says, it sounds kind of lame. Like, the schedule is so bizarre to other cons I had attended, where everything's like early, before noon and shit. Like, everything after noon is a screening and, photo op sessions. Like, fuck, man, you guys are early. Why are you guys so early? Come on! I thought I was supposed to drink at these things and be ridiculous all night long. Like, they have a thing on fucking Sunday morning, a panel. Who the fuck is doing anything on Sunday morning at a con? If you're doing a con right, you ain't waking up till, you absolutely have to drag ass out of there to get to the 10 a.m. screening of something you were there for. But I think it's the Power Rangers panel. Something about Lexington getting the Power Rangers. Not all of them, and certainly not their favorites, but my favorite, David Yost. That'll be cool. Jason David Franks of the White Ranger / Green Ranger fame. Probably something else too, I don't know. And MMA, which is hilarious fame, and he's just all up in Lexington's business, which is where I podcast from. It's where I work. I don't know what that was. I regret nothing. Fuck you. But there's a side of me, I have a cousin doing some stuff there, and you should check out his shit, I guess. If you like misspelled, loud hillbilly rantings that are worse than mine. It's like, I can't. If he's like one of the players there, man, I don't know if I can do that. I don't want to run into that. I don't want to go to a con where that's one of the attractions. Where it's like, hey, have you heard some of this? Like, I don't wanna. YouTube said they don't want it. Of course, they said that to me too, but that's okay. I've accepted that. Mine's more of a radio medium because our podcast arena, ripping off of the Smodcast works. Just because I had some software to work for it and all that, but cartoons are one thing, and I love them. I'd love to do them, but I got a job, and I have to pay for bills and shit that aren't just, my passions and my, creativity at play here. So, not to naysay, but I poo-poo him on content, not on what it is. So, He's done very well. I'm very glad for him, but at the same time, I don't want to see it. Because objectively speaking, I don't want to see it, because I've seen those videos and they make me sad in my heart. Sad. This is the man that came up with strawberry Bud Light. So, yeah. And, spelling is huge with me. And common misspelled words, or misspelling of common words, I don't know. If you can't spell impossible, get the fuck out. That's all I got. I don't want to read what you have to say, except in a darkly comical, humorous way. All due respect, I'm just saying, learn to fucking spell. Ow! If you're putting shit out there, and use some commas and apostrophes, too. That wouldn't hurt. That wouldn't hurt at all, because then, Uncle Jack off a horse and shit like that tends to happen. And then it's like, eh. And, I'm too small for my costume now. Thank you very much. Thank you. In certain areas and a little big in others. So I can't really do the costume thing as much as I want to. Plus, I don't have the money that I thought I would have for the event. And it's St. Patrick's Day. I gotta juggle all three, quintessons of my personality at once. And it's becoming a pain in the ass. Everything's becoming a pain in the ass. And you get to sit here and listen to me fucking listen to or delete it. You probably already did. And I'm sorry! Get on task. Fine, I'll get on task. Monday I usually talk about wrestling. But after the UK thing, I was thinking. Sitting here, I was like, what can I do for a nice little lively cast? Oh, I will tell you a tale in mini chapters. And, not that many, but certainly a few. Wrestling. Why do I like it? I like it because there was nothing else on at first. And The Undertaker and Paul Bearer, rest in peace, buddy, and Kane were on. I like Kane's dynamic costume. It was shiny. And I was waiting for my dad to wake up so we could pick up my mom from her night job, which is at 11 o'clock, and there ain't nothing on Monday nights at 10. And we had basic cable. So wrestling was the order of the day, because fuck anything else that was on in 1998, because honestly, and 98 was a banner fucking year for the Attitude Era. Fucking, this was the year, Attitude changed the game. Brought a whole lot of new fans into the mix, including myself. Now, I had relatives and shit back in the heyday of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was a fixture, but not necessarily for wrestling. He was just one of those people, like Mr. T. I didn't quite know exactly what he was famous for, because I was too young to see Rocky 3 in theaters, and the A-Team for sure wasn't on in my world for years, until, high school when that shit was on Spike. So, I didn't know what the fuck. All I knew was Mr. T was awesome. But I didn't know why he was awesome. Same thing kind of for Hulk Hogan. Like, I knew he was a wrestler, but he was also just in the little kid lexicon in general. Just Hulk Hogan's here. He's in fucking Gremlins too, man. You turn on the thing, brother, or I'm gonna run wild on you. Like watching a movie in wrestling gear, which means no pants, which was raises its own questions, especially in light of certain recent events. Irregardless, so I had become fascinated. And then, of course, the Mick Foley story that I tell, and then I caught Mick Foley doing his thing as Mankind. The dark humor behind his character just clicked with me. And he was the outcast, and he was viewed as dirty and fat and alone and all this good shit. And I was like, I can relate to all of that, sadly. And then, you delve deeper into the world of Mick Foley, and we are simpatico on many, many, many things. Many, many, many things. Which led to, he didn't get a date until he was 18 either. I didn't get a date until I was 18. Of course, loving him might have affected that. But those nuggets will drop from this as sooner rather than later. The whole thing is, what does HRW mean to you? Nothing. What does it mean to me? Hardcore Rules, misspelled with a Z, wrestling, which was my backyard thing. My backyard wrestling bit that me and my buddies did in middle school through high school. Now, the genesis of it was, I had been watching wrestling, sort of, off and on, and my dad really, I was going to go play football. And the first few days, they kicked the living shit out of me, because that's what they do with the new meat, fresh meat, let's beat the fuck out of them. Like, I'm battered, bruised, and beaten, man. I got cuts on me from the fucking plates of the football pads slicing me up. And I have, I bruise easy. I show marks a little easier than most. Especially, through a beatdown. And I was offered a lucrative, at least for a 12-year-old, contract with my dad, who wanted to see me go through with this because I asked to sign up. And if you quit now, you're never gonna, do the thing. You got to see what it's like. I was already doing band and shit, and these are all things, mind you, that I did in order to get girls. That was pretty much it. Like, yeah, it's always good to have as my dad would say, put a quiver in your, an arrow in your quiver in the ladies. Ow! But to put an arrow in your quiver, have multiple skill sets, because you never know. I didn't know that, life was going to have to be like metagaming where you better have that fucking sense motive skill. One day you're really going to fucking need it. Dude, such things didn't, really become a priority. I wanted to be an actor, and that was kind of the thing. But I didn't know how other things could necessarily help those yet. Again, I was a kid. Come on. I was getting there. And the money didn't hurt. So I played the football, and wouldn't you know, I started to like certain aspects of the game, and other aspects really turned me off. Mostly the social aspects of grooming these young, pubescent boys into some emotionally scarred, drugged up dudes, chauvinistic cocksuckers. No, but it was a culture there was just an old school culture there of, homophobia, of sexism, what have you. It's all in there. It was in there, even at such young ages. And alcoholism. Alcohol was starting to get thrown around, for the minors and shit, because it's okay as long as you get on the field and you're straight. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, guys, you're taking this a little too seriously. I always looked at it with an objective eye that it's just middle school football. But no, these guys are grooming and getting prepared by their parents for fucking college. Now, I didn't, the plays, they would say a bunch of jargon, and I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, except directions, like left or right. And I was just blocking, so I was protecting my QB. So I did that. Dude in front of me had to be blocked, so I blocked the fuck out of him as best as I could. Sometimes I got owned, and it was awesome. Other times I kicked a lot of ass, and it was really cool, too. I much preferred that, but different cast. The thing I got out of that, even though I was on the academic team, football team, and band all at once, jack of all trades, if you will, at least for this time, 7th and 8th grade, I was not getting, what I thought would be the respect from having these titles. No, I was just a dude that did a lot of stuff. Like, I was everywhere, but nobody seemed to give a shit about me. And I was eccentric, of course. I was bizarre. I'm an eccentric kind of guy. But no, it did not catch the eye. Like, it just led to more ridicule and scorn, which one of my teammates used to have this little game. Even though we were teammates, he would slug me in the back of the shoulder as hard as he could. When the teacher turns her back, this is algebra. Scritch, scritch, scritch on the chalkboard. Wham! Right on the shoulder. And I have this thing where if someone wishes to inflict pain on me, and this is from way back too, but if someone wishes to inflict pain on me, I will not, show it's a fact. I won't be like, ow, dude, because I realized early on that that's not the way to go, at least for me, for some fucking reason. And he would just do it, and I would end up with these huge, bruises upon bruises on my arm, and I wouldn't give him the satisfaction, I guess, of showing the wince or the pain, or the reaction to the pain. And then Mankind touched my life, Mick Foley touched my life, and his character was predicated on, at least early on, that you can dish out everything, and he'll take it gladly and with a smile, and you're going to have to do a lot better than that to beat him. And so that became kind of my thing. That helped me through getting, beat on, not like beat up in a fight context, but just to see how much I can take. I was ready to take more than he could ever possibly dish out, within a reasonable fisticuff sort of way. And so I would do that to shame him, make him look weak. I don't know if it worked, probably didn't, but he's fat now, so I enjoy that. Ha ha ha! Cocksucker. Nah, I'm sure he has his problems. But that led to me wanting to do that. Like, if I can shame this fucker with real hits, what's stopping me from just doing, I like the storytelling, I like the live theater aspect of the wrestling, and I like, to a degree, the pain element, because it helps. Mick Foley said this in his book, and it's something that I agreed with, still do to an extent. People out there, you might, reconcile with it, you might, relate with the notion that physical pain can sometimes trump emotional pain, and I was going through some fucked up sadness, just depression, really depressed for a 12, 13-year-old, too. Like, it was just, again, it's the girls will drive you mad, man, I guess. It did for me, because there's just no way I couldn't figure it out. Why, the chicks dig assholes thing and all that stuff. And it's at its peak, of course, because everyone's a caricature in fucking middle school anyway. Because they're slowly, you go big and then it gets whittled down and modeled through time and all this stuff, ideally, to create who you are. And so on and so forth. Whatever. But I was going through some shit, man. Nobody liked me. And the bullying thing, which is now a big deal on the TV box, but the bullying thing, led to emotional pain. I dealt with it a number of ways. A lot of masturbation. Christy Canyon. Mick Foley loves Christy Canyon. He talks with Christy Canyon. They're both accomplished authors, and I love their books. She only wrote the one, self-published, but whatever. So I decided to parlay that experience with my friends who are huge wrestling fans as well into, an exorcism of the demons, if you will. And, getting some art out there and being different and, fucking wagging my finger in their face. They love their fucking UK basketball. That's fucking great. I'm going to take this opportunity to build a ladder and, smack a dude with it. For wrestling, for title belts. So I had a wrestling-themed birthday party at 13, and my dad made all these awesome little custom title belts out of some, metal and leather, and everybody got a custom belt that day. Well, I took one and I, emblazoned the HRW on it because I liked the fighting style of ECW at the time, and, it masks your lack of maybe physical prowess if you can take a garbage can to a dude. And so, Hardcore Rules is what it was called, and so I just said Hardcore Rules Wrestling, fucking A, like ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. And the list goes on, and we made our own characters. Instead of playing as, or acting out as the characters that were predefined by, the WWE or WWF at the time, let's make our own. I didn't know that this was going to be a phenomenon at the time. Couple of months in, 6 months in, and we're doing little programs, having tournaments and fights and winning titles and doing matches, and I do daring matches to get the girls, and I invite the girls, and the girls don't show up, or they do to, mock us and fuck some college guy, which happened once, and it was weird, because, again, they're, in middle school, which is a phenomenon that would follow me through Clark County, where I am, where I resided, a little small Kentucky town in Winchester. Shit gets weird. People just want college-age dudes to fuck their little kids or something. I don't fucking know. Don't look at me. It's just a good time, and it's just a bizarre culture. One I never related to, and that's why it fit in so well to, do the wrestling thing. It's counterculture, the goth kids dug it, and we got some goth kids in there, and they really like pain. They had the fucking clothespins and shit stuck in their skin. I'm not asking that much. Maybe a chair shot. Take an elbow. And they were down, and we got this, I don't know if we ever got a following. It was just a group of our friends. But that's how it started, was just, Billy taking the pain and getting the thing with the character creation and performing in front of people. And you mix all that up with the idea of wrestling, and it works out pretty well. 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever you want to, I don't know the official timeline exactly. You see the 2020 video package where it's Backyard Wrestling. What is it? How many children has it killed? And shit like that. And these dudes are doing some shit that, we take a few notes off of some. But I was never into actual mutilation, per se, as much as the staging of it. You can fake the cheese grater. I was into the sports entertainment aspect of backyard wrestling. Where other dudes were in it to win it, and proving something to someone out there with their little VHS cameras. And we'd take the VHS camera with the C tapes. But these dudes were, literally taking the cheese grater and grinding the fuck out of each other. But that's how it started. And so, over the course of months and stuff in the spring when it's nice, and so it always makes me a little nostalgic when it starts to get to spring, where it's the sun comes out, and it's not too hot. Start to get, amped up for some wrestling, and it's WrestleMania season, so that's always fun. And it starts to make me think about, HRW, and what is it? I don't know if anybody remembers it fondly or remembers it at all as anything other than just more 6 dudes doing shit. And I wish I had those tapes to put on YouTube, because I would drop some clips on your asses. But that's how it started, was the football thing and the pain angle and all that. And just, coping with things that are pretty, in hindsight, they're sort of minute, but I guess no emotional damage could be considered such a thing. And again, it's not like anything heinous happened. Heinous. Although we faked it. Because, everybody had to fall off the roof at least once. Andrew got thrown through a plate glass window. Good times. Jake loved, he was always down for juicing, which is where you actually take the nubbin of the razor blade and nick the top of your forehead because it bleeds easier. And he did it a few times, like, wow. That's something to see, but it's, incredibly silly and dangerous. But no one got paralyzed, but there was the one kid in Florida that was like, I was just wrestling. And he's a big fat kid that was like 12, and he took this 8-year-old girl and fucking slammed her against the coffee table and shattered her spine and shit. I'm like, god damn. And that kind of left a black mark. Like, once that story dropped, along with like the 2020 stories where the kids are stapling each other in the face and using barbed wire and falling through the big thing, the fluorescent tube lighting. You get some of those and they'd pop and throw them at each other and shatter and all that good shit. Once you'd see that extreme on the TV, then people started to take notice in a bad way. And so that's when we started to get the lectures, and that's where you see even to this day, before any WWE DVD, they get the fucking 5-minute long, it's not 5 minutes, it's like 2, but you can never skip it. Don't try this at home. Bodies have been broken. Spines fused. Listing all the injuries that dudes go through and stuff. Later, I shall regale you all about the OVW. And ICW. My bad. OVW, we never... ICW, and taking it from just fucking around and getting a little practice out and starting a scandal in a small southern town, I'm going to take you to the next phase. Phase 2 of HRW, in which we start to decide, those 3 of us that actually want to go out, not just for me, not just for acting, but for actual making this a career. Making this legit. And not just because Mick Foley did it. Although I tried to follow a similar line, but years later the story gets cleared up. But that's Phase 2, baby. I guess I'll just call this HRW Phase 1, so you just heard it. Phase 1. Would you like to know more? Of course you would. Why not? Of course, Tuesday there's also pop culture stuff, so maybe I'll just make that next Monday. I don't know. Depends on how slow the fucking news is, because today was some horse shit. Oz the Great and Terrible made a bunch of money like everyone thought it would. That's all I got on that end. Evil Dead, the remake, played at South by Southwest, and it was reviewed. Haven't read the review. So, I just let you in on that little bit. Now, I might bring this up at a proper panel discussion, but this is just a little what's on my mind. It always makes me misty-eyed and fond of springtime in Kentucky. It's a nice place to live. Sometimes. Not really for the people. Okay, geographically, it's a nice place. It's a nice place to live, especially in the spring. And, it's starting to happen. The thaw is beginning. I'm not having to clench my asshole from ice so much. Or freeze to death. Or be sick. Needed a clenched asshole today. That'll tie it up. That is all there is. There is no more for tonight. Gotta leave you with something. I am Billy at the _swan_man. Follow Army of Snarkness on Twitter, at Army of Snarkness. A lot of practice. Like the Facebook page, of course, but we already did all that. As we say every night I'm on. Peace!